everybody, I've been out in the garden today, and as you can see, the storms are getting ready to roll in. It's getting dark over in that area. You can see the line coming in, and the wind is blowing. You can see on the plants that the wind is picking up. And so we're gonna go in and we're gonna take the abundance that we have, which is tomatoes, and we are going to make a tomato soup on this rainy afternoon and a grilled cheese sandwich. Nothing says home like a beautiful, delicious taste of a tomato soup and a grilled cheese. All right, come on in guys with me and let's get started on this recipe. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Kristen, and we have had an abundance of tomatoes, which is not a bad thing to have. So today we are doing a couple of recipes. We were out earlier on the boat. This week is our holiday week, so to speak. And so I have been doing a lot in the garden, and since the tomatoes are coming in really heavy, oh, hold on. Not only have the tomatoes been coming in super, like, tremendous, look at what we have. An entire Ziploc bag of mulberries. So I can't wait to enjoy these. We love that mulberry tree. I keep calling it a Persian mulberry, but I think it's a Pakistan mulberry. Anyway, it's one of the peas. I'll look it up. I'll put the information somewhere in this video so that you guys have it. But this thing is an abundant producer. And I'm telling you right now, if you went to the grocery store and you even bought blackberries or anything that would be a similar berry, you would get probably like one small little square, probably this height, and it would end up costing you about $8. So, you know, I can't imagine, like, I've never seen mulberries at the store. I think that's just, at least not around here, so I can't imagine what it would cost to have an entire Ziploc bag. And there are still more mulberries on the tree, and I made a kale salad recipe the other day using these, not these, but the mulberries. So I'm getting plenty of use from the mulberry tree, so I'm grateful for what I have, and I'm so excited that this is something that we have the opportunity to enjoy here in Zone 9B. All right, so I also made some biscuits this morning. As you can see, you gotta have some biscuits in your life. So I decided that today I wanted to make some tomato soup, some homemade tomato soup, because it's actually been this afternoon it started picking up, the weather started picking up, and it's gotten really windy, and it's gonna start raining here soon. So I'm starting to do the fermented salsa, which this is just diced tomatoes with onions. And if you have peppers or anything like that, you can add that. It's about, I would say that's easily probably 4 cups of tomatoes and onions just mixed together, like 4 cups total as a combination. And then so that equaled for me about 6 tablespoons of the Redmond's real salt. So always use Redmond's real salt. So today I'm gonna go ahead and start my tomato soup. It's super easy. Get your oven at 450, and you're basically gonna roast these tomatoes for about 30 to 40 minutes. I went out to the garden and I got some basil. Isn't that beautiful? I actually got this basil from Baker's Creek. I love Baker's Creek because they have such a wonderful variety of selection, and this basil does quite well for me in the summer. We're gonna take some olive oil. Today I'm just gonna use the olive oil that we have from Costco. This is just a really quick recipe. I'm gonna throw olive oil all over the pan. And here's one of those variegated tomatoes. I don't know if you can really tell that it's variegated, but it's super beautiful. So I'm just gonna actually start dicing these tomatoes. Now you could just, I could potentially just throw all the tomatoes on there. I don't have to cut them in half, But for this recipe, I am definitely going to be cutting these in half because I don't want them to pop or burst. You don't have to cut them any finer than that, just because I'll tell you why. Because you're actually going to end up taking an immersion blender and just cutting them or mixing them once they are roasted. And so once you get them to pop, basically when you cut them in half, it's gonna make it much easier. So basically I'm just gonna go through and I'm gonna get a whole bunch of, I'm actually gonna process all these tomatoes today, and just put them on there, and then I'm gonna, like, you know, kind of move them around on the tray and make sure that they got coated with olive oil. And if I need to add extra olive oil, then I will do so. Now for me, it's not for everybody. I like to add to my tomato soup an onion. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut some of that up too. You can do that in large chunks as well when you roast it. I roast my onion. If you want, if you had peppers, you could also add, you know, some type of a pepper. If you like a little bit of spice, you could add a spicy pepper to it. I do a variety of different types of tomatoes. Mostly these are the sweet 100s. And if the seeds bother you, you can always just let the pot settle once you're done cooking it, and it will be fine. The seeds will kind of settle themselves to the bottom, but sometimes the immersion blender will pick it up and you won't have to worry about it. So I would say that this is a fair amount of tomatoes. So maybe this, we're looking again at maybe 3 to 4 cups of tomatoes by themselves. They'll definitely be leftover soup that we can eat on this week, which will be fine because I'll probably eat some for lunch here in a little bit once it cooks. And then we will probably eat a little more later tonight, or I might share with my neighbor next door because he's, his wife, I think I've talked about him, his wife died a few months ago. And so I take food over to him to make sure that he's eating. He's diabetic, so this is, you know, home cooked food is not something that he would often get because he's always going out to eat, or nowadays, or just stopping at Publix. So he's taking care of himself, but you know, he's not getting that homemade food that is, we all know, is really super good for us. Okay, so before I toss it into the oven, I'm gonna go ahead and add some of that Redmond's real salt. We're just gonna sprinkle it over the top. Oh, that's a lot. Over the top. At least this salt's good for you. We won't need to add any to the stock. And then of course I have the dipping spice. I like to add the Alessi's dipping spice. As you can see, I am actually almost out, but I have another container in the back, so I will probably finish this off today. And pull the other one out of the cupboard. But it just gives it a really nice flavor. I like that kind of, as I say, the Italian taste to it. So, and you can always add more flavor, you know, or spice, whatever you like to it, when it comes out of the roasting part. So again, roasting is only going to be about 25, you know, to, you know, 30, 35, 40 minutes. Just keep an eye on it. Make sure that it's nice and toasty. And if you feel like you need to, go back in and take a spatula maybe halfway through and kind of shift this around so that that way it's getting all mixed in. I think that there's enough olive oil on here, but maybe over here by the onions we'll add just a little bit more. Little olive oil never hurt anybody. Olive oil is good for you. Okay, so I forgot to add the garlic in when I was roasting the tomatoes, which is fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and I just added a little dab of garlic right here. And then this is about 2 tablespoons of butter. Those tomatoes are looking beautiful. We only have about 6 minutes left, so I'm just gonna quickly walk you guys through this piece of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the organic Whole Foods chicken broth. We're gonna use about 2 cups today. I'm gonna go ahead and get that started while the butter is melting. The garlic's already a diced garlic that's been cooked. So we're gonna get that started. That looks more like a cup and a half. And then what I'm gonna do is once those tomatoes are done, I'm not gonna torture you all and have you sit here and watch me use the immersion blender. But I'm gonna add that immersion blender into this recipe by just taking the tomatoes and then just using the immersion blender to beat that up. And then when it's done, I'm going to add coconut milk to make it creamy. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the 365 organic unsweetened coconut milk. I will end up using this entire can because we like it to be very creamy. And I'll show you what the final product looks like once this is done. All right, and there you have it. There is a beautiful cup of homemade tomato soup. It is gorgeous, and I went ahead and added a little bit of nasturtium in here to just add a little touch of beauty. This is a cup that one of my friends gave me, and so that's how we're going to be eating it. You feel free to add a little bit of mozzarella. You could also add some pumpkin seed to the top if you wish, or you know, some sour cream or whatever you prefer, or you can just eat it just as is. So I'm gonna go ahead and get those grilled cheese started now, and but I wanted to share this easy recipe with you all. So remember, go back to the basics. It doesn't have to be super expensive to just be enjoyable. Campbell's Soup made tomato soup so popular because it brought people back to that home feel. And that's really what I tried to do today, was show you how easy it is to just utilize what's in your garden and bring you back home a little bit, bring you back to nature. Remember, we're a lot like plants. We need good nutrients and whole foods to survive and sustain and to be at our best self. So next time you go to pick up a can of tomato soup, remember the love that goes into it, you know, think about that. And then if you have time, go home and try to actually make it yourself, especially if you're able to grow. So I don't want anybody to think that I'm putting down any type of canned soup company, because I'm absolutely not. I've been there, I've used them. But when the garden is abundant in tomatoes, I definitely want to step outside of the box and make my own, because it's super simple. It's an easy, delicious way to get the nutrients that we need. And then you can just zhuzh it up a little bit by adding some of your other plants that you have, such as your nasturtiums. So make it beautiful, make it healthy, and I will see you guys in the next video. Don't forget, love one another, be kind to one another, and I will probably be doing a couple more cooking videos today. All right, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it, and I am humbled by this opportunity.